Thursday, 4 o'clock on Monday. This is the Committee on City Services of the City Council. And Laura, would you mind?
Councilor Carney.
Present.
Councilor Labarge.
Present.
Councilor Nash.
Present.
And Councilor Bidwell.
Here.
Thank you. There are no public for any comment, so I'll ask if there's a motion to approve the minutes of February 4th and February 21.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, those minutes pass. We'll pass over number 4, which was the update, and I'll explain. Oh, I think I did explain in
your
the text.
explanation.
Yes.
Good.
Okay,
Makes
so
sense.
it is going to be at a later date.
Yeah.
He thinks after the collective bargaining is done. And then we had, I think, a total of 6 appointments. The 3 that came on, or the 3 of the 4 that came on February 7th, and then the ones that came on the 21st. So that first, and that I'll just process note that the appointment of Elizabeth Silver to the Northampton Housing Authority was forwarded to the full City Council with a positive recommendation on the 21st. And we took that up as the full council, and she is confirmed in that position. So the next appointment in that list was Dan Krasner, who was the applicant to the Housing Partnership. And I was in touch with Mr. Krasner, and before I read his statement to us, I'll point out, I'm not sure if it's on here, but I believe he's also serving on the charter review. Does that ring a bell, or where I saw that? Might have seen that in there.
He made a reference to, at some point or another, he's worked on charter amendment efforts.
Oh, I see. Experience as a consultant to a local government charter review process.
Right.
So I don't know whether he's in, I mean, that's good to know. I mean, would have been good for, but his application is actually for the Housing Partnership. And what Dan said he would like me to convey to the committee is that he states, I would be honored to serve on the Housing Partnership. I'm a new homeowner in Northampton as of August 2018, was previously a Northampton renter from May 2015 to May 2016 when my family relocated from Florida. Even though we have the advantage of middle class income, we found that finding affordable, we currently pay more than 30% of our household income for housing, and suitable housing to rent and buy through the FHA mortgage program in Northampton was challenging, especially with young children and a dog. I bring experience as a landlord as well, since we have a rental property in Florida, and I have prior experience as a public affairs consultant to real estate industry clients. As a public interest advocate, I look forward to working with others in our community and beyond to reduce barriers to housing for all. Thank you for your consideration. That's best Dan. And I'll note that he also is the political director of Represent Us. So I'll ask if there's someone who will offer a motion for a positive
I would
recommendation.
make a motion for positive recommendation for Dan Krasner, Housing Partnership.
Thank you. Made and seconded. Councilors Bidwell and Labarge to send with a positive recommendation to full council. All in favor?
Aye.
No
Okay.
opposed or abstentions? Thank you.
I need a little help with pronouncing her last name. Rachel, is it Meow?
Maori, I would think. Maori.
Anyways, she was great to talk with, and we had a lengthy talk. And she is letting us know a little bit of her background and why she is drawn to serve on the Northampton Human Rights Commission and what she feels she can offer. She has been a racial and social justice activist for many years, stretching back to the first time she lived in Northampton as a UMass student studying social thought, Spanish, and Latin American studies. Her concern for equity inspired her to move on to live and work in poor communities in Latin America, leading her to earn a master's degree in public health from Emory University with a focus on international health. For the last year, she has been part of the MoveOn.org's training course, where she has had the opportunity to train diverse community leaders across the country in political organizing, community outreach, race, power, and privilege, and in radical civility and mediation. As part of her role, she has attended scores of conferences and trainings in equity, anti-racism work, bystander training, deep listening, and conflict resolution. The Human Rights Commission embodies my values and goals, and it would be an honor for her to serve Northampton in this way. I've sat in on Human Rights Commission meetings and feel its current focus on setting priorities through community listening circles is a spot on. It engages the communities most affected by inequity and injustice, though historically underrepresented, and centers the Commission's work accordingly, ensuring their efforts of authentic as well as effective. Pursuing a vision of a better, more just world starts with ourselves. I feel so thankful to all who serve our dynamic city, working together in big and little ways to make it a welcoming place we can all feel proud to call home. So I make a positive recommendation to Full City Council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to send the name of Rachel Maori to the full council with positive recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And that passes. So I'll ask, who was,
Megan.
Megan, was it you, Jim?
That's me.
Okay. And again, this is for,
This is for Human Rights Commission,
yes,
for Megan.
Megan Page?
You know, I'm going to start making a point of asking people how to pronounce their name. Yes, Megan Pate, and I had the chance to talk with her on the phone today. She's been a resident of Northampton for the last 4.5 issues. She originally got interested in doing issues-related work here in Northampton through the Pioneer Valley Women's March. She's made a point of including her children to model active, engaged citizenry. She's also an immigrant herself. She's also, the question I always ask everybody is, have you attended one of these meetings? And she's attended the Human Rights Committee meetings, and and already has engaged with some of the leadership there to see if they're interested in having her join, and so that's how we ended up with her application. I found her really pleasant to talk to, and that I think she'd be a fine selection for the Human Rights Commission. And I would like to send her name forward with a positive recommendation to full City Council.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded to send Megan Pate to the full City Council. Positive recommendation, all in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous. Thank you. And the last one was Elizabeth Silver, so we're into the next.
We could give her a positive recommendation.
I think we are, she's seated already. She's, that we did that all.
We can just keep doing
Well, do it again. But let's not. Let's move on to the next one, which is Rachel Hart, I believe, right?
Yes, Rachel
the Arts
Hart for the
Council.
Arts Council. I spoke to Rachel last week. She has attended some meetings of the Arts Council. She knows what she's in for. She has had a career in the nonprofit arts sector for 12 or 13 years. For some time now, she's been an outreach manager at Amherst Cinema. And what she's become quite adept at is seeking out and procuring arts-related grants. And she looks forward to bringing that expertise and that familiarity to the Arts Council. I think there's and she's been involved in film forever, so that's her real area of expertise as well. So she looks forward to bringing that variety of skills and background to the Arts Council. So I would make a motion that we send with a positive recommendation naming Rachel Hart to full council.
Second.
Moved and seconded to send the name Rachel Hart to the full council with a positive recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Also unanimous. And Emily, was that you, Jane?
That is me.
Yes.
Emily Estes, and I'm not, again, quite sure how to pronounce this last name,
I know.
Bellagio.
but yeah, that's it.
Bellagio.
Bellagio?
Yes, very well done. Okay, and that, let's see, so I had a chance to speak with her on the phone. Let's see, my notes are all over the place here. Well, so she is applying to be part of the Historic Commission. She's done a lot of work already here in Northampton in different projects, redesigning some of the bathrooms for accessibility over at Thorns. In fact, she worked on a project for Thorns that had to do with accessibility for the whole building and had to do with working with the state to make sure that it's meeting those requirements. More recently, another project she's worked on is the redesign of Roberto's. If anybody's been to Roberto's
I've been there.
lately with the new bar and all of that, which is quite lovely. And one of her interests is she likes working with historic structures. That the historic structures set these limitations of it frames how you have to work within the limits of the structure itself. That you're not trying to tear the thing apart, you're trying to preserve what is there, but also have this this new use or slightly different use going on, and she really enjoys the challenge of that. Okay, cover that. She's also made presentations to numerous planning boards in Hatfield, Hadley, East Hampton, and that she's, while working with Thorns, she also has made presentations to the Central Business District downtown. She's from Texas and a graduate of Rice University, and but she's happy to be here and she's happy to be on our Historic Commission, and I would like to move her name forward with a positive recommendation.
Okay, let me just ask about, we had the letter that was directed to Wayne Fiden from the Western Mass chapter of American Institute of Architects. I don't know if you saw that in the packet. That sounds like they are actually, it looks like Wayne had asked for a nomination of a member of this chapter.
Right.
And then it says for the City of Northampton's merged Historic Commission and Historic District Commission. Was that?
Yeah, there used to be the Elm Street, separate Elm Street.
Okay, so it's referring to that
That's right.
part.
Yeah.
Okay, where they
We
pulled in.
merged them some
So that's the Historic
3
District.
years ago, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all,
okay.
it's all the same commission now.
Right. Okay, and it says that they're nominating Emily Estes as
Well,
well.
thank you, I had missed that.
Yeah.
And thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you. Okay, so moved and seconded to send the name of Emily Estes for appointment to the Historical Commission to the full City Council with a positive recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's unanimous. And finally, Carmen Juno?
Yes, Carmen Juno, Housing Partnership. I had a lengthy talk with her a couple of times, and she is very interested in being on the Housing Partnership Committee, and she's really she wrote to me to explain her experience and vision. She is a licensed social worker, recently retired from the VA Medical Center, where she has worked for the past 13 years, helping homeless or near homeless veterans acquire appropriate housing. We issued veteran-specific Section 8 vouchers and helped in the housing search process. in communication between the landlord and veteran tenant, and in providing the veterans needed services to promote housing stability. Through this work, she became very familiar with housing issues throughout the Pioneer Valley, both from a tenant and an owner-landlord point of view. I also represented the VA at some of the community-wide housing partnership meetings chaired by Peg Keller, where various stakeholders shared information. If people don't have an affordable place to live, they don't have a life, and I agree with that. Northampton is a desirable community to live in, and housing prices here reflect that. I'm so proud of the city for partnering with agencies to build affordable housing, reflected in the projects going up and recently completed on Pleasant Street, among others. A vibrant community is one that includes people of many varied economic situations, and she believes an affordable housing supply is the foundation of this. I own a home in a diverse neighborhood on Straw Avenue in Florence. Behind me is Meadowbrook, and at the end of Garfield Street is a cluster of Habitat for Humanity homes. We have both homeowners and renters on Strong Avenue, and she loves her neighborhood. I hope you will accept my application to join Housing Partnership, and I think she'll be a very good candidate. And I like to move forward with a positive recommendation to full City Council.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded to send the name of Carmen Gino with a positive recommendation for appointment to the Housing Partnership to the full City Council. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that one is also unanimous. And I'd like to note that the 6 appointments we took up are all new appointments. I mean, we have a lot of reappointments, but it seems like, you know, these are all
New
new.
blood.
Yeah.
We did them.
Except I think Elizabeth is also serving on, no, but in terms of committee, which committee did she say the Housing
Authority.
Not,
Yes,
Housing Authority,
Authority.
but she's also serving on the Board of
Zoning.
Appeals. The Zoning Board of
Yes,
Appeals.
she's on the
right.
ZBA now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting our money's worth out of Elizabeth.
Well, very good. Okay, that takes up 6 appointments, and they'll all be taken up on Thursday, right? Okay. And then, new business. I would just ask, do we have, I'm not sure that we'll be able to meet with
With the human resource.
Susan Stone in April, but we could reach out to another department. There are some thoughts that people have. I can't remember what, I know we wrote down a few that we were thinking of. We said human resources, building commissioner.
That's it,
Yeah, we talked about, would that be a good call if we could
That'd be
ask?
great.
yes.
You want to check with
Sure.
Len and see if Louis would be able to come? So I guess it would be April,
April 1, I think. Is that right?
And how about the veterans agent,
April 4.
Steve Connor?
sure.
And Councilor Bickle had suggested like a theme-based one around the short-term rentals, right? I'm just remembering
Well,
that.
we had talked about that, but now, of course, we separately
That's-
through Community Resources have a.
That's-
They're going to have a forum on the
already.
18th. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think we're that probably becomes a place for that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I think Louis to come in and talk. Actually, it relates because
That's what-
one of the things is where, in addition to our ability to impose a 3% tax, we also now have the ability to regulate.
You mean in terms of
Airbnbs?
Airbnb?
Yeah. And so I'd be interested in hearing a little more about where that conversation stands.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that would
we
make
can
sense.
find lots of things to talk to Louis about.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as a backup, in case Louis is not available, and I don't expect they're going to be ready with their collective bargaining by
Right.
April.
Right.
We met with Dwayne last time, right? That was our last. and we met recently with
I'd like to
Jody.
talk with Steve also.
How about Steve Connor?
Steve would
Yeah.
be
We
great.
haven't had him.
Yeah,
in here.
just as a backup, so we'll try with Lou,
Right.
and if not possible, then you know what, you and I will talk, and we'll try to get Steve. No, good, okay. And then we'll see what we have for appointments.
Yep.
I think. Very
I
good.
think we got some more coming.
Maybe, I didn't see for Tuesday, did you see?
They usually don't send it until we like.
Yeah, the day
I know,
before,
when
right.
they start coming.
Tomorrow, okay, so we'll see, there may be some more.
There is one, I saw it on Facebook. Apparently, he had an article in the Gazette and he was in a wheelchair.
Oh, appointment to the Disability Commission?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
coming
okay,
up.
okay, well, that would be good.
Well, that, I know that the mayor's office has made a real effort to have appointments beginning and ending in June. Or
Mhm.
could we expect like a whole raft of?
Possibly.
We've
Yes.
talked about that, but
Yes.
a lot of those will be reappointments.
Right,
We might want to think about, you know, the extent to which we have to review regarding reappointments. Certainly there'd be a process, but not the same as a brand-new person who's not been serving before.
right.
You still have to talk with him.
Right, right, but that would be actually, if we can get a sense,
I know.
maybe from
Yeah, that would
Lynn,
help us
Just
plan.
have one.
about whether there's going to be an onslaught of appointments in
It wasn't
June.
last year, is there something new that they're trying to?
Well, it's just, I think it's more that a lot of them were dated to be
Yes.
expired,
Okay.
well, to
And we
run
were
through
behind.
to run through June. And if that's the case, you know, it might just be time for reappointment for a number of folks. But we'll find, I mean, if we could just get a sense of that, maybe.
Inquire.
Right, that would be.
That would be perfect. I mean, if
I mean,
we
if we
could get
get 20 of them.
ahead on it.
Right, especially if we know, like, if they know in advance and we have a few months, if there, it turns out there's
Right,
like
we can-
70 or 80 people, then at least we have a few months to,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, the thing is, the mayor's not gonna make those decisions in advance for us to say, I mean, he's gonna reserve the right to say, you know. So, but that would help us certainly if we had more time.
We're ready to do the work.
Okay.
It'd be just like, nice to know what the work's gonna be.
Okay.
Because we, you know, if we're lining up speakers and we have 15 appointments to go through, that's gonna be a lot of work.
No, I
Yes.
think for those times where we're gonna have 15 appointments, we need to have be a meeting that's just regarding the appointments. Yeah. So if we get it, you know, we can always
Right, I
push
think,
people off for another month if it looks like, so.
I think Jim is correct. I think we should be ahead of it. And I
Yeah.
think the mayor's office, I mean, they do have, when they come forth, when they have to be reappointed, so we could get that list ahead of time and be aware of it.
When I
Yeah.
ask for permission about, I mean, just whether Louis can attend, I can inquire.
Yeah, just, you know, if they have a sense about
Exactly.
what's coming, you know, and you can, you know, we just need to be prepared if there's going to be, you know,
But
40
he's right about the month
appointments or
of June,
something.
that
Yeah.
crowded.
A bulk appointment.
Right, if there's a lot that are coming up for reappointment. And then we can talk about to what extent, if it's a reappointment versus a new appointment.
Mhm.
So, okay. Well, there's no further business then. I'll ask if there's a final motion.
Move to approve, I mean, move to adjourn.
Very good. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.